First, we're going to start by opening up Silhouette Studio software. So today we're going to be recreating a mom and kid shirt that I saw I thought would be super cute to make. So I'm going to just upload this image and drag it off to the side. So we're going to click on the text icon. I'm going to just write "the" in all capital, and then I'm going to go ahead and write boss. So the boss. We're going to change the text. So the text that's pretty similar to the one in the image, just because I've used it plenty of times for other things, it's going to be fashion compressed. So we're going to change that. Cool. So the boss, I'm going to actually make them both bigger. You can change the size of your text by clicking on the text and then clicking next to the text size. So if I want to do it that way and do 140 here, and then change this one also to 140, cancel that. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna type in real, just so we can have all of our text typed out. I'm gonna change that by clicking on the text and changing it to the font that we're using. I'm gonna scroll up, select it here, and then we're changing the size to 144. Now, okay, so I'm gonna actually duplicate the boss for our kid shirt. So I'm gonna just right click and click copy, paste. Now depending on, I'm gonna put this over to the side. Depending on the type of computer or laptop you have, with the Mac, I know you can press Command C and then Command V to duplicate or copy and paste your words. So it just depends on the type of computer or laptop or PC you have on how you can copy and paste. Otherwise, you can right click, click copy, then right click again and click paste. Goodness. 1, 2, 3. So to create our line, we're going to click on drawing tools and we're going to select the rectangle, and then you're going to just click on your workspace to start creating that rectangle. So you're just dragging your mouse from one corner to another to create that space. Now this is of course completely humongous compared to this, and so how we're going to fix the height of this line is simply by taking, either you can use the top square or the bottom square, whichever, doesn't matter, and you're going to bring that square up, or if you're doing vice versa, you'll bring the square downward. Now this is too far away from how the image has it next to our workspace, so we're going to drag it down a little bit, fix it up, and then we're going to fix our boss. There we go. So I like how it, if you just notice how it had that blue line aligning your text, it's always helpful so that you know you can make sure all of your text is aligned. Now as I'm looking here, I'm going to have to move my line over a bit because there was definitely more space over here versus over there. Alright, so my shirt is made, so I can take this same rectangle, copy, paste it, so Command C and then Command V, or right click and then select copy and then paste. So I'm going to make the text on Real Boss bigger, and to do it all at one time, I'll click off to the side, just click, and you're going to drag your mouse across those words. So you see how both boxes are highlighted here, and then I can actually expand by using my middle square that way. Then I can readjust it. Cool. So if you actually want to change the color of this so you can see it a little bit better, because as you can tell in this gray area, it looks, I mean, it's a little harder to see on the eyes. So the way you can change the color is by selecting on actually all of this is black, so I'm gonna drag from the corner and drag over all of that design, and then I'm going to click on the fill panel, and I can make it any color I want. Again, there's another video that's going to show how you can change different colors that way and have some little extra, glossy features if you want to show your client that. Like some of them have the rainbowish fonts. If you just want to see what it'll look like, just like with that type of gradient or whatever. So we're just going to click on black. Simple. And close out of our fill panel. And as you can see, now you can see that design really, really well once we've actually made it black. So I do suggest this to all of my students as well. Whenever I'm working with several colors, I like to actually change it to that particular color, whether it's pink, purple, whatever, just so that whenever I'm ready to actually make the shirt, if I don't have an image to refer to, I know what colors are going to be together and what is going to be separate. So I do suggest this to all of my students as well. Whenever I'm working with several colors, I like to actually change it to that particular color, whether it's pink, purple, whatever, just so that whenever I'm ready to actually make the shirt, if I don't have an image to refer to, I know what colors are going to be together and what is going to be separate. Okay, so now we need to make this complete design for myself, the size that we're going to put on the actual shirt. So what I'm going to do here is actually right click and group. So you remember how we have each separate piece on this design. There's the line, real boss. Same thing here, the line, and boss. We actually grouped it together, so now wherever I move it, it's all together. Now, when I click on my screen here and drag over, we can move that way, but then sometimes if you don't pay attention, you might not catch all of the words or text. So it could stay behind and your design will be separated, which you can simply undo and drag across your entire design and then move it all together once all of the pieces are selected. But I just find it, if you group it together, it's a lot easier to go through your process. All right, so we can see here the height it also shows it up here if you have the business edition for sure, or if you group your text, it'll show it in such. So like if I select boss by itself, you see I don't see the width and the height. That's because it's not a complete design altogether, so that's why it shows up separately. So if I were to group this together and re-click on there, now you'll see the width and the height of what your design will look like. So for an extra large shirt, the width of the shirt can be between 11 to 12. That fits comfortably in the center of your shirt, and that still allows you the 2 to 3 inches away from your armpits, which I will show you that in the previous clip or the next clip. Alrighty, so we're gonna change this. I'm gonna do like I said, 11 to 12, so I'm going to do 11.6. And then for my height, she has it fairly big, so the height I normally do between, so if you wanted just to go simply across the chest of, 4 inches in height is good on an extra large shirt. Again, if you click down below, I will have a link to the PDF file of the dimension sizes, so that takes the guesswork pretty much out of figuring out what dimensions you should use for your designs on a t-shirt. So I'm going to do 11.6 by 5.5. Let me see how it enlarged. And actually, when I typed in the numbers, before I pressed enter, I did the width first, and then I did the height. Then I pressed enter so that it would actually set those numbers, or you can lock it, which either way will work. But if you don't, if you go to 11.6 and then you put in your height of 5.5 and just click off of there, it's not going to take it. So I'm going to show you, for example, now. So my shirt is done here, and I'm actually going to print both at one time. So we're going to move this one down. The sheets go up to about a 20, which is here. So I'm going to just move it right here. All right, and then I'm going to move the real boss over. My son is currently in a 2T. So the amount of usable space, I'm going to do, okay, so I'm going to show you what I was referring to in the previous clip whenever you don't press enter or lock to lock it. All right, so for my son's shirt, we're going to do a width of 6, and the height is going to be 3.5. All right, now you see how small that is compared to my shirt? Definitely different. So love making kids shirts because you use less vinyl, and it just, I don't know, it's been easy, especially when I made my baby gift box. So I really enjoyed. So our dimensions are locked in. I'm going to readjust this for cutting purposes, and I'm actually going to click on my workspace, drag it over both designs. And you can do one of two things. You can either right click and flip horizontally, or you can click on objects, mirror, flip horizontally. You have to flip your design horizontally so that whenever you go to weed your shirt out, the words are on the carrier sheet correctly. So the way it's facing us, where it says the boss, the real boss, in order for us to achieve this look, we have to flip our design horizontally. Now it works differently when you're dealing with print vinyl, and that's where the images are on the front of the vinyl. You'll do your words exactly how they are on the screen. So we wouldn't flip the image, we would leave it as the boss. But I will do a video on that in the future so that you can see how that's done as well. So now that our design is flipped horizontally, we are ready to cut our design out. make sure you have a lot of light when you're working too, so that you can actually see where you're weeding out. And I always weed from the corners. So I'm going to pick it up. It's always good to have a trash can, or like I've used this little bowl to put like my little scraps in. So now we're going to pull back. Just take your time too. And normally I just go across the entire top half and then down to the bottom. But you do what works best for you, because sometimes it might be best to start in a different position versus from the corner where I started. So now that we've removed all the excess, we're going to remove any excess that's left on our carrier sheet. And I always weed out my designs before I even turn on my heat press machine, just to save electricity, honey, because that electricity bill can be a little high with this machine. Your heat press machine just on for no reason. So tip of the day, do your design work, cut your design, weed your design out. And if you have multiple designs you're doing at one time, or multiple shirts, I suggest while one is cutting, you're weeding out the other, just to save on time, because we always want to maximize on our time, because less time equals more time for us to be working on more stuff. So tip of the day, almost done. Simple shirt. I'm going to do some more complex shirts later on down the line, so maybe you'll be able to see it right there. We have the real boss, the boss. And now we are going to heat press our design on our shirt. Okay, time to cut on our heat press machine. Each heat press machine is a little bit different. And what we're going to do is let it warm up. On mine, I go up to 400 degrees. With yours, I would just check what settings are suggested for your particular machine. Just cleaning off my heat press machine, because these things tend to, well, this one tends to get a little dusty, and we don't want dust on our shirts. Okay, so now our heat press machine is at 400 degrees for 30 seconds. It's set. So they have those fancy t-shirt guides that you can spin an arm and 3 legs for. Sorry guys that are trying to make money off that business, but I think it's unnecessary. So first thing, before I even get to that part, we need to pull my surface out a little bit. And I'm actually gonna lint roll this thing, because it's dusty. And sometimes when you purchase your shirts, I always check the shirts before I take them out the store, because sometimes you can get shirts that have strings just sticking out of them, hanging out, holes in them, and they will literally put those on the shelves to sell them. So what I do again is I just gently roll over the shirt, get that dust off, and I normally lint roll again before I package it. And I'm going to show you how I package my shirts, just for some added bonus tips. I give a lot of tips. That's the whole point of this all, is to help you be successful. Alright, so I think I've lint rolled it enough. And so, now to creating lines on the shirt, so we make sure we press in the center. Well, our designs align up in the center, and it's not too far off to each side. So what I do is fold it in half, and I make sure the shoulders meet up together, as well as the sleeves, even the bottom half too. Try to make it as straight as possible. And then what I do is give it a quick press. I suggest you always do a quick press on your shirts before you actually apply the design. And when I say quick, I mean like literally a few seconds. Oh goodness. Stuff all over there. Oh, that's enough right there. So, now hopefully you guys can see this. It has a perforated line now down the middle of your shirt. So it's no need to guess and figure out where the actual middle of your shirt is. Now if you want to measure, or not measure, create a guideline for how low you want your design to go, or the stopping point, you can do another crease press real quick. Just real quick. Again, you don't want to over press your shirt to create another line. And no, it won't affect the line you just created down the middle. But this one, the second step, is really unnecessary, and you'll see why in a moment. So now you have lines on the front and the back. So if you were to do the back as well, now you have a guide to do so. Then you're going to put your shirt on your mat. Make sure you try to get it as straight as possible. Alright, then you're going to grab your design and measuring tape. Again, we said this should be at least 1.5 inches away from the collar. So in order for you to just make sure your design is aligned with your middle line, like the middle of your design is aligned with your middle line that you created, you'll fold your sheet in half and you'll make a crease down the middle. It won't affect your vinyl, but it will help you with placement. So that's one of two ways that you can figure out the placement on your shirt. And I'll place that there. But again, I check again because no one wants a shirt that's crooked, right? So what I will do is take my measuring tape and align it to see if this shirt is actually straight or crooked. Or not the shirt, the design rather. Alright. So that's perfect. And we are ready to press it. I'll go over just a tad bit. Alright. And with my heat press machine, once I close it, it's going to automatically start counting down. So just check the settings on your particular machine and figure out what works best for you. So now we're going to wait until it beeps after 30 seconds. Lift your top of your heat press machine up, turn it to the side, This is actually a warm peel. So what you'll do is peel it off. And there you have it. Oh no. I wanna tell you something. So, perfect lesson within a lesson, right? So with this shirt, there was actually some vinyl that was left behind. Now, in order to get that off, which is not really that big of a deal to me at this moment, but I do want to show you this product that is going to save your life when it comes to you making t-shirts. But here is the design for Little Man. And I always do 2 presses on no matter what size shirt it is, just to make sure that that vinyl is in there, okay? Now if you use this chemical that I'm going to show you next, to get rid of vinyl whenever you accidentally make a mistake or don't notice some vinyl left behind, you just let that dry and then you can press your shirt again. So it won't affect your shirt. It won't leave a stain or anything behind, but I do always get the to-go pins, and I also have shout out wipes as well. So I have shout out wipes as well, because sometimes again you may get a shirt and not pay attention and the shirt is actually has some like weird stuff on it, because you'll be surprised what happens from the distribution center to your house. Okay. Letter remover solvent is what you will need in order to get those vinyl letters off of your shirt so that you can correct the error that you made. You can find this on Amazon or at your local store that sells blank t-shirts or supplies for custom printing or t-shirt business. I'm a free lady, but I can't let it know you for the streets. Hey, whoop. Abracadabra. Hey, now we peel it up. Oh my God, so many cuss words. Then we repress.